I think I'm live.
In Facebook?
Mm-hmm. In the group. I think so. Is that you? Okay, yes. Hi. Sorry, you guys. I'm a little late logging on. My daughter, she is leaving to a trip, and so she just got picked up by her dad. So she's going on vacation. And this is my first time using StreamYard. So I'm sorry. Be patient with me, you guys. So welcome new members. Welcome new members. We are going to be just kind of talking about what adjustment of status is and what that requires and entails. And overall, if you guys have any questions, please just ask away and I'll try to address as many as I can. I'm just going to give it a second or two. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So my name is Jennifer Trujillo. So I work at Cora Multiservicios. I am not an attorney. I am not licensed to practice the law anywhere at all. So I just want to throw that out there. But I have worked as a senior immigration paralegal for the last several years. And yeah, so I love doing this. I love helping provide as much information that I can. So I'm just going to sit here and share my knowledge because I think this group is awesome and amazing. So, all right. Mauricio, so I'm going to be going over all the process. So just bear with me as far as like, yeah, the information. All right. So if you guys are on this group, most of you guys are coming in from the Dreamers group regarding the advanced parole. So advanced parole is basically when you are asking to be paroled, which is to be legally allowed into the United States, right, in advance. So before leaving, you're asking them to legally let you back in, which is known as parole. So advanced parole is kind of where the name comes from. So whenever you leave and you have a lawful entry, a lot of the times with the DACA recipients, right, you guys, or we have a lot of situations where they came in at an early age without a lawful entry into the United States. They were eligible to apply for DACA whenever it came out and they met the requirements. They've grown up here. This is the only life they've known. Well, now they're married to a U.S. citizen, which is the scenario for most of these cases, then you are able to adjust your status if you have a lawful entry. Well, there's different ways, but we're just going to focus on adjusting your status through having had a lawful entry into the United States. Okay, yeah. So whenever you come back into the United States, sorry, you threw me off. Anyways, so whenever you come back into the United States with your lawful entry and you are either married to a United States citizen or if you have a child who is 21 years of age, then you would be filing what is known as the petition, the residency, your work permit, your travel permit, and your affidavit of support. Let's see. Your affidavit of support. So obviously the form I-130, that is essentially going to be to establish a valid relationship with two people. Either that is your husband or your parent, or if you are the child. Let's see. Okay. And then from there, you will be able to apply for your actual adjustment of status, which is the Form I-485. Then you will be able to concurrently file your permit under a different category, which is based on your adjustment of status and your travel permit. Let's see. This one's different. I know I'm throwing a lot of information, but do you guys have any specific questions that might help a little bit? I didn't plan too much. This was just kind of a spur of the moment where I'm just going to jump on here and ask a couple of questions. I can also go over the specific evidence or types of documents that you need for a marriage-based petition, because a lot of people are just recently married and they don't know what kind of documents or evidence to submit. I was getting a couple of questions regarding the affidavit of support. All right, Mauricio saying, okay, question. I hired a lawyer to do my adjustment of status, but she wanted me to do the consular way since I did not have a legal entry. She did my I-130 and my I-130A and got approved. I fired her because she never told me about the advanced parole. I'm doing advanced parole now. Should I try to get my case moved back to USCIS or just resubmit my I-131 and start all over once I have my legal entry? I mean, in this case, if you were going to do the consular way, right? Is there a way that I can hide this? Yeah. So in this case, right, if you were going to do the consular process way, then your case was obviously sent to the National Visa Center so that you would, go to your home country and do your interview abroad. But if you do your I-130, once you come back here, your I-130A, which is your advanced parole, and you have that lawful entry and your petition is already approved, then you can just go ahead and file your adjustment of status with the approval notice of the I-130, and then they'll move that case back from the National Visa Center to USCIS. So that's actually, I wouldn't start all over. Just maintain your petition valid. All right, we've got another one. So Michael, it says, if my wife has 40 credits, but we got an RFE for the I-864, do I submit everything again? All right, so if she does have the 40 credits, so in this type of cases, what I would do specifically is resubmit along with evidence showing the 40 credits. And then if she can provide at least the tax transcripts for the 10 most recent years, which will also help with that, along with her most recent pay statements, and then an employer verification letter stating, how long they worked there, how long they've been employed with the company, what their pay rate is, just a standard letter. However, in order to avoid a denial, right, I also submit, like, if I absolutely know, like, this person qualifies and they have the 40 credits, I refile everything back to them, but stronger with what I just mentioned. However, I put in the alternative that this person does not qualify, then I will also add documents for a qualifying co-sponsor. So I would submit the petitioners I-864 and say if they didn't qualify by themselves, then I would add the additional co-sponsor. So I always try to have a backup and then a backup of the backup just in case. But I make it very clear, and like, as evidenced right here, this person does qualify based on your own regulations. Here's the supporting documents. But if this isn't sufficient for you, then here's that alternative just to avoid a denial. Hope that makes sense. Says a question from Olivia. It says, "What are the qualifications for DACA? And if you have an illegal entry, my husband and I did the FOIA, and he had a voluntary return on file. To my husband married to U.S. citizen, but attorney says he can't apply due to illegal entry. Can you help us?" Honestly, Olivia, if you wouldn't mind, send me a message. Just I would need a little bit more information regarding that. So I don't have quite the necessary information to be able to answer that in full. Yeah. So if you guys have any more specific questions, feel free to ask away. Yeah, no problem, Michael. Good luck with that. I hate when they do that, but I've thrown it right back at them. Brenda, hi from Chicago. Hello. Oh, from Charlotte. What's the fastest way to do AOS? I have an old 245i. My parents got me back in 1998, but recently found out about AP, which would process faster. I recently got married. Congratulations on having gotten married. So if you have DACA and you are going to do the AP, then you would obviously have to wait that time. And then and then obviously you'd have to wait the time, see what the travel dates are, and then obviously have your entry back into the United States, and then obviously you would submit your adjustment of status. So that's going to probably be about 6 months right there before you're even filing. But if you have that 245i right now, and your husband is doing that, then you're going to pay the $1,000 more. But I would say go ahead and start with the 245i. It's going to be $1,000 more, but you don't have to leave the country, and the application for the AP itself is $575. And if you're worried about traveling, then you're going to concurrently apply for your travel permit and your work permit when you file your adjustment of status. So hope that answers the question. I should have just said the 245i straight. Jose Aguilar, how long is AP taking right now? I'm getting a lot of AP approvals back from the second week of August. So I'd say about 4 months, give or take, but that's always subject to change. I know in different offices, it can take a little bit longer. Says I have DACA, but I have an expunged felony. Can I do AP? Have you been renewing? If you've been renewing your DACA, then you'll be fine. I've had other ones that have been with like related to larceny, and they've gone and they've come back no issues. But please note that it is always discretionary, so tread cautiously. But especially if you've been renewing, then more than likely you'll be fine. Olivia Rosales, the attorney said because he has two illegal entries, so he has a permanent bar, and because she knows about it, so she can't help us. Yeah, ethically, legally, he has two unlawful entries, so it's considered a permanent bar. So upon her ethics, she cannot say, hey, he wasn't caught, so I'm only going to put that he entered one time unlawfully. So that's what she's referring to. So I couldn't be upset at her for that. Diego is, can a person apply for adjustment of status after doing advanced parole, even when even with a final order of removal? Honestly, that's just going to come down to the nitty gritty, which is what type of removal proceedings did you have when you entered? Where were you removed? You know, what the scenario is as far as what your adjustment is going to be based on. So I specifically would need more information prior to answering that. I'm so sorry. But feel free to send me a message and we can talk about that just a little bit more. And then also in the guides, just search throughout the group. I'm sure that question has probably been asked by somebody else. And then maybe based on the how your case relates, you can get more information. Okay. Yeah. So, all right, there is basic documents that you're going to need when you are going to file your adjustment of status. The way that I like to submit my packages, I think I could talk about that, is we're going to submit all our forms, which is the I-130 if you're married, I-138. I'm sorry, if the I-130 is going to be just in general, the I-130A, it's going to be if it's marriage based. You're going to submit the I-485, which is your residency application, your I-765, which is your employment authorization application. Then you're going to do the I-131, which is your travel permit for that. And then your I-864, which is your affidavit of support. So the petitioner always has to do the affidavit of support unless the beneficiary who is applying for their residency has earned more than 40 quarters in, which is equivalent to paying at least 10 years into the IRS or your SSA. So the documents that I usually submit, well, always try to submit, is going to be birth certificate, passports, your lawful entry. You are going to submit your marriage certificate, divorce certificates, your children's birth certificates. If you have any kind of criminal record or history or ticket, regardless of antiquity, if you hired an attorney, if it was dismissed, always disclose that and always put that into the applications. And then affidavit of support, you are going to be submitting your IRS tax transcripts, your complete filed taxes along with the corresponding W-2s. A lot of people get RFEs because they're submitting their taxes as incomplete, which is a question I see often on here. So make sure that is complete. Ninfa Amador, what does the SIJS AOS process look like? Oh, I love SIJS. Those some of my favorite cases. SIJS, for those of you who do not know, it's Special Immigrant Juvenile Status. It's based on children who are under the age of 18 who have been abandoned, abused, or neglected by one or both parents. If that's the case and you know somebody, then they might be eligible for Special Immigrant Juvenile Status. However, once that's approved, if a court deems you abandoned, abused, or neglected, then you get the special permit, which has a pathway towards residency. So it's going to depend when you adjust status two ways. If you are in removal proceedings, then you can have the immigration judge terminate the proceedings, or you can request an individual hearing once everything has been approved and the visa bulletin as far as your priority date is current. Then you can go ahead and ask for an individual hearing saying, hey, let the immigration judge do that for you. Or again, some judges will terminate and then they will transfer the jurisdiction to USCIS, which is an office where you'll basically go do the interview. Well, they've been waiving those. Or if you are not in immigration removal proceedings and never have been, then you would do the USCIS submission. But they are taking quite a long time right now. I mean, I've had a case pending right now for about 4 years with the USCIS office, maybe 3 actually. I'm probably lying on the 4. But if they are in removal proceedings, then what I'll typically do is tell them to just request an individual hearing and try to have everything filed as complete when you request that to the judge. And then they'll be more than likely um, compelled to give you a shorter hearing date, and they're just ready to go at that point. I hope that answers. I'm sorry, that was a lot of information. Oh, okay. So there's 2 questions regarding that. What are you considering complete taxes by? And the other one is, what do I mean by um, taxes incomplete? So when you're submitting your affidavit of support, it's very important what they're looking at right now. Essentially, when there's a new immigrant coming to the United States, the government doesn't want to essentially take care of them. So the point of the affidavit of support is somebody saying, hey, this person is not going to be a burden to the government. We're going to support them if ever. Here is proof that I have the financial means to do that. And in order to show that you have the financial means, you're going to want to provide the most recent pay statements to show what your income is, what you're making by an employment verification letter, and then taxes. Whenever people file their taxes, and a lot of people are doing them electronically nowadays, so they'll e-file and then they'll try to go and get a copy, but they won't include their W-2s or their is that you have all of the correspondence. Sorry, my screen went black. I hope you guys. Oh, anyways. So, what the immigration officer is going to be looking for is that all your W-2s and those 1099s add up. And so, since a lot of people are just doing like e-taxes, TurboTax, they'll download it, but won't submit a copy of those W-2s. So, make sure that you guys have that. When I'm doing adjustment of status and for my clients, I don't just ask them for the complete copy of the taxes. I make sure they go get their IRS tax transcripts, because I don't like to give immigration any kind of reason for them to delay the process longer than it should be, or for them to look for any kind of excuse to give the denial, because you can use one or the other, but I would rather send both just in case. And you can get your IRS tax transcripts online, download PDF, print it out, and save that. Nympha, how do I know if I have removal proceedings? So one of the easiest ways, there's 2 ways you can call the 1-800 number, which is 1-800-898-7180, and then just follow the instructions. You're gonna push 1 like 3 times, and then enter your A number, and then make sure it has your name. And then there's another one, which is the EOIR, automated case information. So just look that up on Google, EOIR, automated case information. You could type your A number, and then once you hit select, it will tell you if you've ever been in removal proceedings, if you have an order of removal, what was the last court. And then you can also try to request a FOIA to see if you've had anything in the past. And if you want to request a FOIA, then just search the group, and there's a lot of information that. Okay, and then Gisela had a question. It's what can be done to get an I-130 for beneficiary to be approved after 14 months? Beneficiary is on removal order. So I'm not sure if you mean he has a removal order or if he's currently in removal proceedings. So if it's marriage based, you can always try to expedite the case. You would have to submit evidence as far as like why you want them to speed it up. So there's a lot of different reasons that it can take long. It's just depending on the jurisdiction, what the priority is, if they're married to a resident or if they're married to a citizen. That's also going to vary in time. So there's a few immigration is so backlogged right now. But try to expedite the case. Okay, Esbel de Macedo. I'm having a hard time understanding the poverty guidelines. ¿Cuánto debe ganar mi hijo para pedirme? Necesitaría un sponsor. Okay, so, deja ver. La forma, no me sé exactamente, pero en el sitio, en el uscis.gov, uscis.gov, ¿verdad? Usted va a ir y va a poner el dash, que es el I, y luego guión 864P para las poverty guidelines. Y te voy a responder cuánto es lo que va a necesitar. Con respecto a las poverty guidelines, eso se basa dependiendo de cuántas personas hay en el hogar. Si su hijo, ¿verdad? Lo va a pedir a usted, el hogar automáticamente son de 2 personas. Entonces, él tendría que ganar lo que viene siendo mínimo unos $22,887 para poder ser el patrocinador de usted. Si su hijo está casado, se le agrega al hogar otra persona. Entonces el hogar serían 3. Ahí entonces él tendría que ganar mínimo $28,000. Bueno, casi 29,000. Si su hijo tiene 2 dependents que salen en sus impuestos, no necesariamente sus hijos, pero los dependents que un sobrino o un hijo los tiene ahí, entonces su hogar sería de 2 más. Entonces, dependiendo de cuántas personas estén en los impuestos, se va subiendo la cantidad de dinero que él va a tener que ganar. Espero y eso le haya resuelto un poquito o dado un poquito más de guianza de cómo poder leerla. Carol Natalie, so it's better to send the taxes with the W-2s. Oh, yes. Send. Make sure you send that. Do not like leave that out of your packet because then you're going to be hit with that RFE, request for evidence. So yeah, make sure you do that. Esbelda Macedo, my son doesn't have a W-2. He is self-employed. I would go ahead and try to look for a co-sponsor in the alternative. I've always found that they don't really like for the petitioners to just be like on 1099s because there's no proof to show that the amount that he's making, because on the 1099, essentially he's self-employed. His 1099 can say that he made $100,000, and a lot of people are like, oh, but he makes like 100,000, makes like 200,000, and then when you actually get to their taxes and it says adjusted gross income, it's only reported that they in reality only made 20,000, and it's not enough. And even from those 20,000, the government doesn't have a way of showing like, is this person going to make that amount next year? So if he's self-employed, you can do that. But as I mentioned early in the stream, try to get somebody in the alternative. Did I put the number right? Oh, here. Here's that number. Okay, that's really slow. Carol, si imprimí mis taxes de la página del IRS, ¿esos están bien o igual también mando las W-2? Si usted está mandando lo que viene siendo el IRS Tax Transcript, con eso está bien, pero sí le recomiendo y no pasa nada malo si mandas lo que viene siendo los W-2. Pero si vas a mandar una copia ya imprimida, eh, eh, que te dan los preparadores, definitivamente manda los W-2 y 1099. Diego, is it safe to get the EOIR FOIA? Absolutely. Yeah, it's still part of your Freedom Information Act. So go ahead and get that. And then Katie is, how many years of taxes are we supposed to send? It's the 3 most recent years. So once the next tax year comes, whenever the tax season ends, I think until like April, then you're going to have to start sending your 2022 taxes. But right now, 21, 20, and 19 are more than enough. Carol, yeah, you may be more than happy to. And then you can always reach out to anybody here in the group regarding that. But do you guys have any more questions? This was kind of like an impromptu kind of live video. I thought it was going to go one way. It always goes another. I'm not the best public speaker, but I'm trying to do better. So just bear with me. Yolanda, for marriage petition, the couple have been married for 2 years. Is 1 year of tax together enough? Actually, for that, you don't even have to have that. Like, that's not a requirement. Yes, it's best. However, it is not a requirement for you guys to file your taxes. If your certified tax professional tells you and recommends that it's best that you guys file married, filing separate, that's fine. If you're talking about what you need as far as evidence to show that your relationship is real and valid, some people automatically think, oh, you need to have your taxes because if not, they're going to think your marriage is fake. That's not necessarily true. There are so many different ways that you can prove that your marriage is real. You can submit text messages, phone calls, screenshots of the phone conversations, the phone logs. If you guys purchase gift together, movie stubs, trips that you guys have taken, holidays, I always say, like, send as many pictures as you can as possible, and don't just send like 20 pictures of one day. Try to send one picture of 20 occasion, or one picture of 20 different occasions. You guys can also, if you guys tag each other on social media or TikTok, Facebook, things like that, you can use that. Letters from friends and family. So yeah, don't think that it's not enough. And if you guys have been married for, well, you said 2 years, so you're going to be looking at a 10-year green card anyways. If it's less than 2 years, then I wouldn't stress too much about it. And then also, bills don't have to be under the names. It is preferred, right? But a lot of companies nowadays they're only putting utility bills under one person's name. So some will have like water and light, and the other person will have the internet and the phones under their name. However, I would submit the statements for both of them to show that they have the shared address of their home together. Diego, thank you so much. I really, I failed public speaking. It's not my thing. Es verde. Ok. Entonces no podría combinar el income de mi esposo, married jointly, e hijo. Ambos hacen 1099. Honestamente, es que depende de cómo están reportando sus ingresos. Si tienen el 1099, es más difícil de poder demostrar de dónde están llegando esos ingresos, que es lo que inmigración quiere ver. Como le dije hace rato, ¿verdad? Uno puede reportar en sus 1099 que está ganando o que trajo $100,000, ¿verdad? pero cuando haces los gastos, los expenses, rentas, todos los gastos que tuvo la compañía o que él tuvo, será que al final del año solamente ganó cierta cantidad. Pero para inmigración se le dificulta porque van a decir el siguiente año no, a lo mejor no va a ser de esta misma forma. Entonces, puede hacer el intento, pero por cualquier motivo trate de tener a alguien o ya listo, ¿verdad? O en la alternativa, que es lo que a mí me gusta hacer en lo personal. Otra cosa que sí se puede utilizar es de que si usted y su esposo, ¿verdad? Tienen propiedades o cosas de valor, si ustedes tienen eso y una casa, ustedes pueden usar los valores de savings de sus propiedades como respaldo hacia eso, pero normalmente tiene que valer 5 veces más de lo que se tiene que ganar para usted. Pero sí, bueno, muy buenas noches. Oh, ok, espérame. Una más, es de militar. Veo militar y mi esposo está en la militar. El esposo está en la militar y la esposa no trabaja. Su income, el militar, tiene que ser diferente al de la persona que no está en el army o eso no importa. De hecho, si la persona está en la militar, los requisitos son más bajos, entonces sería solamente 100% en vez del 100%, 125%. So, en el poverty guideline es menos. Ok, bueno, con eso me retiro, que todos tengan una muy buena noche. Hay muchísima información aquí en este grupo, entonces tómense en el momento. Lo mejor que le puedo decir es de que usen los search buttons para poder hacer sus preguntas. Hay muchas cosas que ya se han preguntado aquí, que están resuelto. Con mucho gusto, Raúl, hágame la pregunta en lo que me estoy despidiendo. Aquí revisen, hay tanta información, donen al grupo, si ustedes pueden, inviten a sus amigos, a la gente para esta organización. Es de non-profit, de verdad, lo que está haciendo para la comunidad es excelente. Para mí es un placer donar mi tiempo aquí para ellos y que no se les olvide comprar la mercancía de aquí también. Shout out, está súper chido. Tienen muchos hoodies, so eso ayuda para poder seguir haciendo estas cosas para el grupo. No veo su pregunta. Ok. Bueno, buenas noches.